part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Chase Smith Podcast, a conversation on current events and culture. We are proudly part of the Press Play Podcast Network, empowering diverse voices to launch professional, engaging podcasts. I'm going to run this interview on a couple feeds because the Guardians had an incredible season and they deserve some love. And here to talk with me all things Guardians, she covers the team for Sports Illustrated. She also is the editor of Northeast Ohio Sports Insiders, Natalie Turk. Natalie, thanks for joining the show all the way from New York City.
Yes, hi. I'm so happy that you have me on.
How is the Big Apple?
Cold and rainy.
The game was canceled. It was supposed to be on 10/13. If you're listening to this, it was yesterday. I mean, were thunderstorms that bad, or is it just because it was lightning?
It was lightning. It was rain. I think, they had a really good idea on Tuesday that was Tuesday. Yeah. It's so hard. I forget what day it is half the time. Yeah. But yeah, so Tuesday's game, they were pretty sure that the forecast was going to hold true, and it did. And I make a joke that the Guardians rivalry, their biggest rivalry this season has been rain. So right. Rain is, once again, kind of got to the Guardians, on Thursday. So Thursday's game. So they will be playing on Friday at 1:07 start time. And then, that kind of messes up the travel day, but at least they'll be heading back home for what appears to be, at last I looked at the forecast, a good weekend in Cleveland, I believe. So,
yeah. So what does this canceled game, postponed, what does that do to the series? Like, how is this going to impact what happens, who pitches and all that stuff? Give us the breakdown, Natalie.
Okay. So, right now, pitching is not changed. So Shane Bieber will be on the hill tomorrow as well, still. But, and we did talk to Bieber some to see if that changes, his routine on Tuesday evening. He was just going to prepare as he would for any, normal game. And just he laughed and basically said that they're used to this. They're not quite, embracing the rain, but they're used to having, I think this happened at least a dozen times this season. So it won't change the rotation. And you can kind of go back and forth and see, who maybe the advantage will be. Does it give the Guardians some time to kind of, I don't know, maybe look at some more on Cortez and just kind of look and see, what it's going to be like, kind of getting some of those jitters down from that first game, kind of seeing going over what they need to, their approach is going to be like. So, as far as pitching, it's not changing anything. And I think it may be a slight advantage to the Guardians. Just save the fact that they will have to travel. But New York will as well. So,
right. So that means the Beebs on Friday. That means McKenzie on Saturday, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And then, they're still saying a TBD for,
right.
There's a couple of thoughts swirling around on what could happen. So let's see, that'd be Saturday. So the best case scenario, of course, a win tomorrow,
yes,
and then a win Saturday, and then a win Sunday. So we don't have to come back to New York and have a game 5. And anyone would be available, though. Tito has said that from the beginning of even the Tampa Bay series that, kind of how we, I always say I'm a part of the team, like but how, they approach this is kind of like wheels off right now, or it's a little, they'll push the pitchers a little bit more. They're not gonna,
sure,
they're gonna do whatever it takes to win. So anybody is available, maybe on a shorter time rest or whatever, should a game 5 be needed in this series.
Right. We were talking pre-show, Natalie, just over DMs about one of your passion projects. I want to touch on it before we continue talking about this series, because I think it's really important. Let's talk about the Northeast Ohio Sports Insiders and the legacy of Matt. I'd just love for you to share a little bit about how he's impacted your life and how you're kind of carrying that on. Would you mind sharing that a little bit? I think it's important for people to hear.
Absolutely. And I really, really thank you for giving me a platform to speak on that for a moment, because I do try to tell everybody, what he meant to me and kind of what I do now. So about 5 or 6 years ago, I transitioned from political writing into sports writing. And I didn't know if I could do that, but I'm a huge sports fan. So, and politics is not fun. So, I reached out to Matt, and I, first of all, never thought he would even get back to me, let alone, you know, embrace me the way he did right from the beginning. Just took me under his wing. I began, you know, covering different teams and sports for him. He gave me a lot of insight on some differences in writing politically versus sports writing. And he genuinely, he passed away, unfortunately, a year ago, this past September 29th would have been a year. And he, you would have never known he was such a celebrity, basically. I mean, he's won so many awards. He's a media legend and icon, and his work is unparalleled. But what makes him the best is his faith was so tremendously strong, and that carried through his health battles. And he just, right up until the day of his passing, was still writing, still helping others, never left that fight. And his passion, and one of his babies, he called it, was the website, Northeast Ohio Sports Insiders, which is like NEO, sportsinsiders.com. And when he got sick, it kind of dwindled down a bit. And I was doing Sports Illustrated as well. So I was trying to work on it, but it was never getting to number one. Last season, he wanted it to be so much. It's some of my last texts from him. So after his passing, I just kept looking at the site every once in a while. And I reached out to his partner, which is more of a kind of behind the scenes technology type guy, not really the writer. He handles the co-founder with Matt. He lives in New Jersey. And I told him that I just couldn't really bear to let it go like this. And what could I do? And he kind of laughed. He goes, are you ready for this? This is going to be an uphill battle. Like, I don't even know where to start. He goes, or I would have. And I'm like, I just really have like this calling and this pulling at me to what I want to do. And what I'm trying to do is pay it forward.
Yeah.
I'm doing for Matt what he did for me. So Matt also worked at the Ohio Media School internships. I took over that as well. So we have interns writing for us. And we ended up, I contacted all past writers. They'd all moved on to, bigger things. And I struggled for a good month or so. And then this core group of writers came to us. And I swear they're like from Matt. And it's just like he kind of has his hand in it still, because the guys, and we have one girl, it's a photographer, and it's like they all want to pay it forward. They have the same traits Matt does. They're all in it for the right reasons. And to see them, I've got them to be able to come in and shadow me, like at the press box at Guardians games. They got to cover Crew games, Browns preseason. Just, we're going to be at Cavs. Just some of the things they have done is watching that look on their face, I guess, reminds me of what Matt did to me and, gave to me. So I'm able to give it back to these guys, and it's all volunteer. So, they're in it for the right reasons, and they're getting exposure in ways that they wouldn't have been able to. So that's what we're doing with the site, but it's all in Matt's legacy, because we want to keep his, his memory alive and what he would have wanted. And I had wrote a piece on him, to commemorate his 1 year. And I kept wanting to talk about all his, accolades and his awards and all the books he wrote and all that. But something pushed me to speak more about what he meant to people. And I think that's what I just want people to know, that he wasn't, some media will walk right by you and they don't even acknowledge you, or, it's a very tough industry to be in. Matt he didn't have coworkers, he had friends, and it wasn't competition. He just wanted everyone to succeed. And he was one of the best people I have ever met or known in my entire life. So
that piece you wrote is pinned on your Twitter handle. And
yeah,
so, Natalie, I'll put your handle in the show notes, as well as a link to Northeast Sports Insiders,
I
just so people can
appreciate
check that out. Of course. Yeah. I never got to meet Matt, but we have hosts on our network that knew Matt very, very well. Sam Amico, Dennis Maniloff, to name a few. And Natalie, a lot of the same stories, a lot of the same sentiments and heart that you just shared. That love, it's really love is what it is. It's love. It's love for people, and it's love for the work and sport in the city. And it's just this, it's remarkable to hear so many people say the same thing without even collaborating on what to say. It's just, it seemed to be who Matt was. And so thank you for sharing that, Natalie.
Yes. And thank you for letting me share that.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
to me, honestly, even though it's volunteer and it's hard and it means it's more rewarding than my actual job for me.
Yeah.
I love baseball and everything, but I love more that if I can just give a little tenth or less than that of what he gave to others, that's all that really matters to me. And it's been so fulfilling. So
well, listen,
you.
I know you're busy and you're being kind and saying, hey, I'll come on your podcast. So
Absolutely.
Thank you. This is it right here. I appreciate it.
No problem. I'm happy to.
Well, let's talk baseball. The Guardians are down 0-1 to the evil empire of the New York Yankees after a game 1 loss on Tuesday night. Let's talk about that game, Natalie. What are your initial thoughts, takeaways from that game there? That was a 4-1 loss to the Yankees.
Yeah. I've been thinking it over, and I feel like even the 4-1 score doesn't necessarily show or kind of highlight how the game went. I actually, despite the loss and just a 1 run scored, I did see some positives. Of course, there was, some negative takeaways as well, but some of the positive things I saw at least were, they were getting to Cole, at least, they were able to, that first inning, I think they got him up to about 25, 26 pitches, or if I can remember. Yeah, they were getting on base. Of course, it was disheartening that, they'd have bases loaded and weren't able to capitalize on that. But the positive fact is, hey, it's not like they, were just completely shut down by him. So I think by my look of them, because of course I've watched them all year, I think the one thing is they just looked really serious, and I'm used to them looking, they have a lot of fun. Yeah. So I hope that fun can translate, maybe after they can shake the first night of being in Yankee Stadium and, in that atmosphere kind of off them, and just get back to that fun part that they play. I think that'll be a big difference and a big turning point. I think Cal actually pitched very well, as he always does. I did think that I could see them starting to make contact against him, and then he did go out for the next inning, and unfortunately that wasn't maybe the best thing, but looking back, each decision you can question or whatnot.
Sure.
So I think he did a fairly, consistent job, as he has. Oscar Gonzalez had that ball bobble around over there in right field, which kind of, was
standing triple is what that was.
Yeah,
that was a standing triple.
Yeah, that was a moment.
But that was right off the heels of this really, really wild play. Donaldson hit this ball that looked like a home run. It hit the top of the wall and it came back, and Oscar threw it in and got him. It was just this wild play that I thought it was a home run. I'm not sure of the exact baseball rule. I thought it hit the top of the wall. It's out. I don't know. I don't know what happened. That was really strange, and a great heads up play by him.
Absolutely. So you're right. He has that great play. And then, so his face just, he looked pained by his mistake, in right field. But I think just with the, being young, you just got to shake that off or whatever. But yeah, that crazy home run play. So I always laugh because sometimes I kind of miss watching it like on TV, because they break down everything. You could see it. And it's funny if you've been in a press box or whatnot, but in there's a lot of times we're all moving to look at the TV because we don't know, we don't see where it hit, or on the wall. And so unless we can pull it up on something to look at it, or in Cleveland last season, I always sat behind Alan Jensen. That was my seating, and I loved it because they are a plethora of baseball knowledge and rules. And there'd be sometimes they wouldn't know anything, and they, or not anything. If they had a question, they'd be pulling the rule book out and looking it up too. And so it's funny because I thought the same thing depending on where it hit. I thought it was a home run as well, and then it just turns into wild, crazy play. And
baseball is weird. Like, not a lot happens, but when it does, it all happens at once, and you got to take everything in at once, and then you only have a few moments before the next pitch.
Yes, and so I always laugh because it's been my favorite sport, and people say baseball is boring, and I'm like, no, it's not, because every pitch, every play, like you said, it can be nothing, and then it's everything, and it's the wildest things can happen, and I think that's why. I definitely believe they're still in this series. I think a lot of, I say a lot of because I'm on Twitter a lot, and there's a lot of negativity. Like, hey, they lost this first game.
What?
People are writing it off already.
No.
Yeah. Oh, never. No, right. And I'm like, okay. So I kind of kidded with people, and I tweeted out like, look, have you guys not been watching them all season? Because they don't quit. So shame on you for thinking that one game, if they're down one game, that's going to stop them. I think they had, I want to say 27. Sometimes I mess up the stats, but it might be 27 or 28. Last at bat, comeback wins. So they could technically lose both games in New York, and I still wouldn't rule them out. I mean, this team has grit and heart, and I think that it was one game, and they were in that game. They were really definitely in it. Yeah. And
they really were. One of the things Tito said, you might have even asked him this question, Natalie, I'm not sure. But he said that he felt like the moment didn't feel too large for his players, even though we're super young and no one ever thought that we would be here. In his post game, he said he didn't feel the moment was too large, that they didn't really shrink, even though they were playing in Yankee Stadium. He said the guys felt good. They just lost. And Tito isn't one to mince words. Tito isn't one he tells you kind of how it is. And I think he knows this team, and he's been in high pressure situations before. And so, Natalie, I was really bummed when we lost, because I felt like we had such a great start to the game. We're up 1-0. You're like, oh, now this is the stadium on T felt dead. They felt shell shocked, and like you could feel it watching at home. I'm not sure how it felt in stadium, but I'm sure it was like, what is going on here? We shouldn't be losing.
Right.
I was like,
it
deflated.
Took the air out of the place.
But when I heard Tito say that, I felt great. I was like, and he gets a lot of credit deservedly because he's an incredible manager. But when he said it didn't feel, the moment didn't feel too big for these players, that they didn't really shrink. They just lost. I'm excited for the game. We're throwing out Bieber. Let's go.
Absolutely. And the talk leading up to it too was, even the Tampa Bay series, is this stage too big for them? Is this stage too big? Yeah. It's been asked by everyone, I think. And if they had any, like I said, what I could see was just maybe, I didn't see a lot of fun. Like maybe they're a little like professional. I kind of laughed like they are professional baseball players. What I meant is like, it looks almost like they were in an office type atmosphere, and just, I want to see them just loosen up and have a little bit more fun. And I think that that'll help them. But no, he's exactly right. And that's what I was alluding to at the beginning is I had a lot of positives on it, just because it was 4-1. I don't think that truly reflected. If you didn't watch a game, you just heard it was 4-1. Right. Like I said, just the fact that they were getting to Garrett Cole, I thought was great. They just lost. Basically, that's what he said. And there were mistakes on both sides, of the field. So, the Yankees had some mistakes as well. So it was a game. They lost it. And, one thing they do, the team does not do is dwell on that game. They won't through the season, through the postseason, whatever. That's behind them. And I know that you can see that in everything they say and do. And sometimes I laugh and think sometimes you're too young to be afraid too. Like I'm older, so I'm like, I think sometimes they're just too young to really like know better. Like they don't know that, well, wait, this moment is too big for us. No,
Right.
I forget what it's like to be their age. And I think, wow, they don't know that this moment's too big for them. It's not too big for them in their mind. They belong there. They fought really hard to get there. And they like the underdog mentality. They are Cleveland. They're everything that, people always count Cleveland out. And, they're glad that the media is, nationally not talking about them a lot and things, and they relish on that. So I think that'll fuel them, and I think they'll be just fine tomorrow. It's going to be a little different because of this time and changing days and all that. But I mean, we played 2 at noon, against Tampa Bay, and that was very, very weird. And, had to be the ballpark. I think they were there at like 7 a.m. And I mean, that was strange.
Yeah.
And they played well, so they'll do fine.
Well, let's take a quick break. I want to continue to look at these next couple games in the series. Then we'll do a segment called HR or KO, home run or strikeout. And Natalie, stick around. We'll keep talking Guards, Yankees, and we'll be right back.
Want to take a quick break to tell you about our good friends at Sneakerhead Golf Company. Sneakerhead Golf Company turns recycled jerseys into your favorite golf head covers. I'm talking about putter covers, wood covers, driver covers. They do it all. They also sell awesome stickers, accessories, and other apparel I'm sure you'll love. So check out sneakerheadgolf.com to see what they have in stock. Or you can even have your own favorite jersey or hoodie turned into head covers. You're absolutely going to love it. I got myself a red 23 Bulls cover for my 3-wood, and it looks perfect in my bag. You know the phrase, look good, feel good, play good? Well, let me tell you, you're going to look good no matter your game with Sneakerhead Golf Company. Use promo code CHASEPOD15 at checkout for 20% off your entire order. And listen, Christmas is right around the corner. Tell your loved ones that you want a new cover for your driver or your woods or your putter. Head over to sneakerheadgolf.com and send the link to your loved ones today, this holiday season. You can also check them out on Instagram, Sneakerhead Golf Co. They have all their stuff there that looks great. Sneakerhead Golf Company, changing the game one bag at a time. Let's do it, people.
Hello, Brooks here with the Books with Brooks monthly book club podcast. Listen, it is beyond time for you to join a book club. I know you've been thinking about it, and everyone's doing it. Here's how Books with Brooks works. We read one book a month, and then we talk about it. Classics like Stephen King's The Shining, debut novels like We Are the Brennans by Tracy Lang, and tons of other compelling, life-changing stories, one book and 1 month at a time. So come read along with us and then listen in.
We are excited to announce that we are joining the Press Play Podcast Network. The Krypton Report podcast is dedicated to all things Superman, Supergirl, and the planet Krypton. We discuss movies, TV, game, comics, and all things DC.
So join me, Tyler, with my co-host James and Jania.
So join us as we explore DC's multiverse.
Look for a Krypton Report on all social media platforms.
Hey everyone, this is Don Mike Mendoza, the host of Producing While Asian. Join us in Season 2 for more conversations with actors, artists, producers, and more from Broadway, Hollywood, and beyond, every other Wednesday on the Press Play Podcast Network.
Hey everyone, it's JD from the Hyman Podcast. Backed by popular demand, I'm excited to let you know that new episodes of the Hyman Podcast will drop every other Monday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. We're going to continue the conversations we started last season and keep having those hard conversations. There is so much in store for you this season, and I'm excited to share it with you. Subscribe today so you don't miss a single moment. The Hyman Podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
All right, we are back on the Chase Smith podcast with Natalie Turk, talking Guardians, Yankees. Natalie, we have postseason baseball that's going to be played in Cleveland here just a few short days. But right now, the Guardians have to beat the Yankees 3 out of the next 4 games. That's where they are at. They cannot afford to do any worse than that, which might be difficult because let me share this, and you know this, but as people listening, the Guardians and Yankees played 6 times in the regular season. The Yankees won 5 of them, including the playoff game on Tuesday night. Yankees are 6 of 7 playing the Guardians this year. The Yankees have outscored the Guardians in the regular season 38-14. Might as well bump that up to 42-15 in all games played this year. We were just all saying how excited we were and how the Guardians never give up. I almost said Justin. Shane Bieber is on the mound for game 2. When you're listening to this, probably on Friday today. Natalie, what are some keys to the series if the Guardians want to advance to the ALCS?
Yes. Well, I mean, when you give those stats too, that's not a good, a good thing to look back on. However, I think too, because when I had wrote a piece on it, I think if I'm not mistaken, they were also looking to beat a 5 postseason losing streak to them, like 5 postseason series. Yeah. So the way I look at it is, okay, look, it's the tides have to change at some point. I mean, we can't just always, I call them the dreaded pinstripes. I cannot. Yankees are one of my teams I just do not like, along with the Red Sox. But so I think the key is for them is, look, they said they're not a home run team, but yet they've had like 3 in the last, 3 postseason games that we just played. Tampa Bay walk-off, and then, Andreas Jimenez last night. And
Stephen Kwan.
Oh, Stephen Kwan, I'm sorry. And I don't want to forget, we cannot forget Stephen Kwan and get that wrong. He is just amazing. And when Tito speaks of him, he's a big key to this. He speaks, he says, he'll call them kids, he goes, but man, when he speaks of Stephen Kwan, it's like he just plays just years above his age. So definitely didn't want to get that wrong.
I think he said about Kwan that Kwan's an incredible player, but he's even a more incredible human being. And that's not to speak down to how he plays in the majors because he's incredible, but that's just how good of a human he is.
Yes. And it's great. You see them all, you see Kwan a lot too, when something good happens, how they're all on the dugout and they're jumping up. Yeah. Kwan is always the most animated and the most excited. Well, they're all excited, but I mean, he just seems to be doubly excited, and he plays with his whole heart, which I believe they all do, which is the camaraderie is, just unstoppable with them. So I think what they're going to need to do is just really continue to play that baseball that they have been playing, that style of play that they, basically the last time I saw that was the last game of the season against Kansas City. They scored 9 runs. I mean, they were, having fun out there and just playing baseball as they played it all year. And Cal always says they've been consistent all season, except that, they had a little mini slump like in April and then in August. So they haven't really changed, and they've been pretty consistent all year. And they just need to keep, it sounds that simple, but it's that true. They just have to, get on base, make things happen. And when they get on base, they do make things happen.
Yes.
I'm a firm believer in the lineup all the way from 1 through 9. We get back to Twitter, we can say that, a lot of people call, for certain batters they don't like because their average isn't that great. Austin Hedges is one of them, which Austin Hedges is the heart and soul of this team. I mean, he calls a game like you wouldn't believe. He's one of the best defensive catchers out there. So I don't like any Austin Hedges slander.
I feel like Austin Hedges belongs on any of those Red Sox teams He just looks like someone who would have been on that team.
Yes, I think the same thing. And hey, I mean, he's come up with some clutch hits too. So I'm not gonna no, he's not Mike Piazza, but I mean, we can't always have, both. So
right.
My point was like from 1 through 9, our lineup is any of these guys can, make a pitcher, a really good at bat, that's where they've done way better than last season when I feel like they were just getting up there swinging at everything. And, they make the pitchers work now. They get to them, they can get on base, and they all have speed all the way from, like I said, 1 through 9. I mean, I don't know how much speed Austin has on the bases, but I mean, they're really good about, just making contact. And I think that's one of the things, a sac fly or a bunt or something would have been good on Tuesday. So I hope they just get back to, just getting those runs in and stirring up things a little bit. I think that's what they're best for. They're pitching perfect. I mean, not perfect, pretty darn close though. And with Bieber, and pretty much any of the starters, you hand it over the ball to the bullpen, and you have Henches, Karinchak, Clase, Stefan, De Los Santos. I mean, you got a really solid bullpen there. So,
but I think a key to the series, if they really want to advance, the pitching has to be perfect. Especially against this Yankees team. I was talking to Michael Rega. Reg used to call games for the Orioles. He hosts R&R with us and Kenny the Roadman Rhoda. I was talking to him a couple of days ago, and I was like, if you play the Yankees, you're hoping that on the same night, 6 or 7 guys have an off night. If 6 or 7 guys of the Yankees have an off night, you probably have a chance to win. But all 6 and 7 of that 9-player lineup has to be on an off night all at the same night.
Right, because Judge was 0 for 3, I think, or whatever. So I was like,
it didn't matter.
Judge was 0 for 3, but then, the others. So
Rizzo
you're right, they
stepped up or whatever. And so I think with the Guardians, we don't have that firepower. We don't have that luxury of having 6 or 7 guys to do whatever the Yankees do. And so our pitching has to be perfect because we have a couple guys that can pop and we have guys that can do well. But I mean, the Yankees, if you look at their, how they outscored their opponents all year, it's not like the Guardians are the only team that they outscored 38-14 and every time they met. That was pretty much their MO the whole entire season. But I think the pitching for us has to be perfect because of just what they're able to do at bat. And so I know our pitching is great. Our bullpen's one of the best in the majors, but I think we just had to be perfect. All pitch. Every pitch has to be where it needs to be. You leave one hanging, or it's just and they make you pay.
That's true. And we can just hope if they do make a mistake that it's just a solo shot and, they don't get a lot of people on bases. So hopefully, that could be if they,
that worries me about Biebs a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, because I know a lot of people as well were Biebs should have been, wish that he would have pitched game 1 instead. But, I'm a big fan of Cal as well, just because he's been so consistent and he's been so good. So I didn't have any issue with him starting game 1 at all. Yeah. And so, it's going to be, Bieber can go out there and he's lights out, or, there can be a mistake or 2 made, and they will make you pay. You're right. The Yankees will. You can only hope. And Shane says it a lot. They all say it, they know if they make a mistake, Naylor or somebody, when they're running off the field, they'll say, we got that. We got you, they let them know we're going to get back up the next inning and we're going to make up for that. So if they can keep the damage to just, like I said, like a solo shot, if they make a mistake pitch, hopefully that's what we'll have. But I know, Bieber's ready. Tristan looked great. Most of the whole entire season, especially the last couple outings. So he's going to be, what's that, game 3? Yeah, that'll be game 3. So yeah, I think, as long as the starters in a perfect world would be perfect through like 7.
Right.
Know?
It's like
then,
every franchise's dreams. Like, yeah, pitchers are perfect.
Sure. And you're talking about, and I'm thinking it too, like, okay, right. Because, and Tito says it too, look, we're playing the best now. So if we want to go, they don't want to just win this. They want to win the whole thing. The team of these guys want to win. I mean, you advance, you're going to face Houston or Seattle. So, I mean, it doesn't matter, it's just going to get tough and tougher and tougher. So
right.
The pitching is good, and we're going to be facing elite pitching as well throughout this. So it's just going to come down to, playing all the way through. Don't give up. And I'm always an optimist, and I always give them a chance every year. And
I love it.
I really believe in this team, and I don't think they're out of it. I think it'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun, if anything. And, I think it'll hopefully quiet some of the naysayers a little bit. But there's a lot of us that are, positive as well, though.
Natalie, do you want to have the Bieber talk now, or do we need to save that for the off season?
I
know you just said you're an optimist and you want to, but no one's talking about it, Natalie.
No, not really. I mean, not that I can say anyway, but no, I would think that.
Well, let's talk about it later. We need to talk about it now, but it's it's there and it's looming.
It is there.
And
it is looming.
And I have a feeling, seeing how ownership has handled things and pitchers and situations like this in the past. I'll say this. I'm really going to enjoy Shane Bieber starting for the Guardians on Friday.
Yes. Soak it in, maybe.
That's all I'm going to say. You read into that what you want. I'm just going to cherish and take it in that he's on the mound for the Guardians on Friday. And I'm just going to enjoy. And I want to see a Jim.
Yeah, I do too. And I know he does. Of course, he's an elite pitcher, and his mindset is always that. I know he's going to do everything he can to get it there. And I agree. We just soak it in and then kind of hope for the best, I guess.
Right. Well, I know I'd said we'd talk for 20 or so minutes, and can we do this segment? I don't know how it's not very long.
You
I don't
can.
know.
No, I was going to laugh and tell you that I think prior to that, anyone that knows me, and I always laugh and I say, I'm a talker, so I'm always sorry.
I
and
love
it's
it.
funny if I get on the radio show or a podcast or whatever, I always feel like I take over the whole thing, like it's my own or something. But I'm sorry if I'm chatting too much. But
no, don't apologize, Natalie. What's not good? A guest who doesn't talk. So this is
that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So
I have time. Sure. Don't have to twist my arm. I have plenty of time to finish up with you. So
this segment is called HRKO. I'm going to give you some situations and you tell me if that's a home run or a strikeout. And you can determine what that means. And you can go anywhere in between. All right. So here's one. And some of these, I know the answer, but it's just, here we are. Jose Ramirez as the AL MVP, home run or strikeout?
I say home run, but
sure.
I mean, no, hands down, I would say that.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, he's not going to win, but no. I mean, that might be a triple, right?
Right. It might be. So I don't think, yes, he probably won't win. He should. So that's why I said home run. I can't pass that up enough. And or I couldn't say KO to that because just because of what he does, he doesn't get hardly any credit for it. So he is one of the purest hitters in baseball if I've ever seen one. And so we'll say triple. Okay. Well, let's say triple. Yeah. Or maybe like triple halfway rounding third. Maybe we can say that.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Here's another one that I think has a little more room for argument. Maybe not so much. Jose is AL MVP. Stephen Kwan, Rookie of the Year.
I knew you were going to ask me that.
Yep.
I would say I would want to be home run, but I think it's going to be strikeout.
Yeah. Not a triple.
Unfortunately.
Not close.
Yeah, I think a triple, definitely a triple, but
Okay.
I don't. Maybe in between second and third. I'm not sure. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think that he'll. Unfortunately, and he absolutely deserves it. I believe
Yeah.
so. But
Well,
no.
I'm not sure how this game is played even. So, so we're both doing a good job here.
I know, right? It's fun anyway. I'm giving my real gut answer and then what I think will happen. So
Sure. All right. Guardians advance to the ALCS.
home run, yes.
Yeah. All right. Guardians advance to the World Series.
I have to say home run,
Yes.
but we're right. Yeah, I'm gonna say home run.
Parade down Euclid, you would say it's a home run as well. Book the
Oh,
ticket,
yes.
plan it.
Yes.
Yeah, love it. Love it. All right, this one's for real.
Okay.
Because I think I know the answer to this too. Tito, manager of the year.
That's a home run.
I mean, it has to be, right?
It has to be. We both said it at the same time. It has to be. Yes, because the youngest team in baseball. I mean, I don't see how it can't be, honestly. So, the other ones, excuse me, that you're just asking, superstitious. I don't want to jinx anything. So if I say, no, don't make a World Series, I will genuinely think I jinxed it. So, but no, with Tito, manager of the year, I mean, it has to be a home run there. He has done, made history really with this team. And it's remarkable with these young of kids. It's just, yeah.
All right, last one here, Natalie. Guardians year one with a new name.
Oh wait, so say it again. What
the Guardians year one with the name change, with the new name? Was this a home run or a strikeout?
Was this a home run? I think it was a home run.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I actually know a lot of people who thought it was a strikeout. And you know what? They've actually come around. And
That's
I think
me.
They think it's a home run now.
I won't go that far. I'll say maybe it's a ground rule double. Like the logo has grown on me. I think there's a couple of things I still got to figure out. Natalie, I love a good corporate cheer. And right now that's progressive. There's not like they haven't figured out how to cheer corporately for them yet. There's not like here we go, Brownies, here we go. There's not like let's go Cavs.
And, and it's also like, so it's weird how, I always mainly called them the Tribe.
Right.
So I was always go Tribe, go Tribe. So I was like, I don't, people are saying guards and I haven't quite caught on to that. So I'm not like go guards, and, I still accidentally slip up and call them the Indians. And, when I'm on talking like with anyone, I'll do it. It's hard. And I think I heard, a lot of that happening in some of the interviews, just recently too. So, but I kind of think what happened, maybe if they wouldn't have had the great season that they that probably would have been a pretty big strikeout. Cause I know it was a lot of people and including myself, I'm a creature of habit. And, I didn't really embrace the change. I mean, I kind of understood some of why they wanted to do it, but I'm all Guardians now, so let's go. And I mean,
the name, saying the name like in conversation, like that's all fine. They've been able to spin how the Guardians is transported, like that's fine, whatever. They got to figure out the corporate cheer at the park, like that's a problem. I don't know if they're going to go G-Men. Like there's like. I don't mind being consulted on this, is what I'm trying to say, Natalie.
Yes,
if the Guardians of the Dolphins want to say, hey, Chase, help us out, figure this out, I would gladly lend my services and try to help them come up with a corporate something, because you just, it's no one knows what to say.
They don't know what to say. I think one of the greatest things, at least that's come back with John Adams, missing him at the park, not having the drum. I don't know if you've been to any or seen where they do the virtual drum on the Jumbotron. And at least during the last couple of games at home it's the sound at least was it's not at all anything John Adams, but it brought back the feeling of it at least. It also lets you know how much you miss him in the presence of that. When you didn't hear the drum or really there weren't fans halfway through last season and the season before that. So, I mean, that was crazy covering them in 2019. And well, no, there were fans at the beginning. It just wasn't full capacity last year. But
I don't think honoring Mr. Adams is great with the drum, but that doesn't make sense with the Guardians. You know what makes more sense? Honking a horn.
I know, right?
Like, it's just the team itself struggling with an identity. There's an identity crisis going on for the team, not the players. The players and the product have an identity, right? Like the team, we're young, like we put the ball in play, like we totally are on board with the culture of the team. It's just like the branding, the like fan base needs an identity, and we don't know what to do.
It's so they have stand for the land. That's what the thing is now, and the saying. But and then the Guardians, the bridge, and the monuments, and and people are, like you said, it's identity crisis. They don't really know what to get behind. People are able to say the word Guardians. Of course, you and I can say it, but I mean, you're right. You have a drum playing, but okay, that doesn't really go with the,
right. Yeah,
it is that part. I'm at least happy that people still wear what they want to the ballpark. They wear Indians jerseys, new Guardians shirts, jerseys, whatever. And I'm just happy that for the most part, people have kind of stopped arguing about it, at least. And that's probably just because they made it to the postseason. So I'm at least glad that we can kind of quiet the argument of the change, at least somewhat. And I don't know, like you said, maybe you can consult with them to get some type of chant down, because
my DMs are open, Dolan. That's all I'm going to say. Well, Natalie, I give you a home run. I give you a home run. Thank you so much for coming on the Chase Smith podcast tonight. You've just been incredible.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
And thank you everyone for downloading and listening. Shouts to our presenting sponsor, Sneakerhead Golf Company. Don't forget to use code ChasePod15 at checkout for a discount on your order. Shouts to the Press Play Podcast Network for making this possible. Follow us online at Press Play Pods. You can visit our website, pressplaypodcast.com, to keep up with all of our shows and network news and sponsorship information. If you enjoyed today's episode, leave a review, maybe add a 5-star rating. That'd be great. I'd really, really appreciate it. Natalie, plug something, Natalie. What you got? Where can we read? Where can we find? Let's plug some stuff here.
Okay, so my Twitter is Nats, NATS _ sports chat, I believe. I'm probably saying it wrong. That's so funny.
No, that's it. Yeah, that's it.
That's it. Okay. It's funny because I have the _ on that one. So I'm always Nats sports chat at everything. So, but that's me on Twitter. Pretty active on there. I can be a little, I don't know, I'm heated about my sports. So that's where you can find all of, everything I do there. And then at our website that we talked about with Matt is www.neosportsinsiders.com. And then also we have a Twitter page for them as well. And that's NEO Sports Inside for Twitter. So those are just, and then I write and cover for Sports Illustrated. And I do try to write for the Guardians for Northeast Ohio Sports Insiders when I get time to. I'll throw up some stuff, My last one was actually just a preview of the series, David versus Goliath, I called it. So I still think, it's that type of style. And I think we can David can prevail in this. So
right. I love it. All right, Natalie, thank you so much. Enjoy New York City. And I almost said Roll Tribe just because we talked about that. Go Guardians, I guess.
Right. Yes. All right. Well, thank you. And I'll be happy to be home, though. And good luck tomorrow. Have a good night. Thanks.
You too. Thanks.